Mamser. Today is going to be my very delayed August reading wrap-up. Moving forward, I kind of wanted to be a little bit more creative with my reading wrap-ups, also because I realized that when I try and sort of talk about a number of books just in one go, I tend to get very tongue-tied and sometimes I can't really say what I mean, and that's super duper frustrating. And if you guys have ever tried to film a YouTube video or like edit a YouTube video, like just watching yourself do the same stupid thing over and over again is really difficult. So I hope you guys enjoy this new format, and without further ado, let's get into the books. Now I never get there. So, you guys ever have those days where you are just not in the mood to do anything? And in my case, my job is in sales, so I don't really have the option of feeling that way. But yeah, I finished my sales pitches for today and I just felt like, just kind of a personal anecdote. I don't know how to talk about it, but I feel like somehow I should, because I don't want to look back at this video and kind of not remember that I filmed this video shortly after that. Like somehow it feels like a way to pay homage. So I've been taking an elective for my MFA, and it's an elective on business statistics because I thought that that would be interesting, and it was. I mean, you know, it really takes you out of your comfort zone. But we had the nicest professor, and he always kind of made us feel like it was okay that we weren't business majors, and like this thing could be applied to all of these other things that we were studying or that we were taking up. And I don't know. And then early this morning around 1:30 a.m. my friends and I found out that our professor, Sir Bu, had passed away. Yeah, so my brain is kind of all over the place today because I'm just so sick of this year. I'm so sick of everything that's been happening, and I'm so sick of this feeling of like being trapped somehow, or just this feeling of not being able to live your life. And just to watch it take so many people who are so kind, just kind of wanted to let you guys know that that's where I'm at today. We soldier on. So today we are going to be talking about My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. I finished this book maybe 2 weeks ago now, and I've really been trying to sit with it so that I can sort of put my thoughts together and come up with something coherent for you guys. The thing about this book is that it's deceptively simple in its premise. Like if I were to summarize in one sentence what it's about, I could probably say something like it's about friendship, or I could say this is a book about coming of age, or this is a book about discovering what romance means. And in a way, all of those things would be true, but I feel like none of them would really be sufficient. There's something in it for everyone. If you're someone who likes Gabriel Garcia Marquez and sort of likes that meandering way he has of describing places and things and relationships, then I think you will enjoy this. If you're someone who just likes a juicy plot and you're like, ooh, like she did not just do that, I think you will still like this. The only thing that I can warn you about is that this book is by no means fast-paced. There are a lot of racy things that happen within the book, but they are delivered very slowly. She's the kind of writer that can spend like paragraphs and paragraphs talking about a pair of shoes, which she does actually. To kind of give you an idea of what this book explores though, because I don't think it's sort of sufficient to just say like, oh, you can't describe this book simply, so I won't try at all. As a booktuber, I think it is kind of my responsibility to help you guys reach into the world of these books and see if you'd like to pick them up for yourselves. At the heart of it, I feel like this book is sort of trying to explore just how deep a friendship can be, and how who we are friends with and who we keep close to that degree of intimacy is really telling of the kind of people that we want to be. In a way, this book sort of shows us that we kind of use our friends as gauges or references or mirrors, and by seeing what they're doing and seeing the way that they interact with the world and the things that they're striving for, we also kind of realize what it is that we are striving for. And there are times where we become a certain way depending on the friends that we're with and depending on the way that certain dynamics work. I think that you guys can definitely get a lot from this book, especially in the way of certain scenes holding so much weight, even if those scenes seem so mundane. I don't want to spoil anything, but I guess I can say just watch out for the scene with the bathing. As good as corners inside that I oh my god, sabaw. What can I say about this book? I feel like there are not enough words. Also, I just finished work, so I'm super haggard, and forgive me if I'm not the most coherent at 6:13 on a Wednesday. So today I'm going to be talking about The After Party by Jana Prickrill. Oh, this book is so freaking good. Like, I'm so in love with the way that she uses language. After you've read enough poetry books, it comes to a point where you know what to expect. You know that birds are supposed to be blue, sadness is supposed to be an ocean. You can kind of expect certain contingencies, certain things to kind of pop up, but that is not the case with Jana Prickrill. But the thing is that she does it in a way that it's not out of the blue, it's not random, it's not like saying shit just to say shit. And I'm just so in love with her language because, like, you can grasp an emotion from it even if you are completely unconcerned with the narrative but still invested in what the persona is feeling or pointing to. So I'll read one of my favorites. This kind of like alludes to JFK Jr. I like that too. Like, she takes random scenes like from history, from pop culture, etc. and then she just kind of, I don't know, like she does something to them. Like, she makes them strange in this like really delicious way that I really like. Let me read one. A Place as Good as Any by Jana Prickrill. Outside the funeral of the politician who died young, I waited for you, rolled in my hand like a baton, were tissues from the mourners inside that I was meant to throw away, a few with your scribbled notes to me. How they'd found me in that crowd I couldn't say, or if the bottle blonde was your wife, or whether I had a husband. We sat near enough to barter knives and forks, the scraps of dinner theater. The blonde was climbing into your lap, playing with the buttons on your jacket. Then all of us rose and circulated, more like a whirlpool than musical chairs, you on the far side of the banquet. That's when you wrote me those notes, one by one, that stiffened into typescript in my hand. At times I glanced toward your place and we locked eyes like opponents in chess. Your hair was still so thick and dark I didn't worry if I looked older. When I waited for you outside, clutching the tissues and pulling up tufts of grass, your friend's shoulder presented itself. He said you lived in this town and couldn't be caught leaving with me. I nodded, ducking back into the paneled saloon, where he blacked out and was sprawled across linoleum. He agreed to drive me to the film festival. You'd be there in the dark with strange women and men, absorbed in pictures more honest than these, if I ever found you again. Damn. The way that she moves the poem, like from, first off, like this feeling of death by mentioning the death of JFK, to this feeling of being in a banquet where it's almost celebratory, to the feeling of having lost something, to the feeling of being haunted. And I don't know, like, it's just so beautiful. Like, being haunted, being in strange places, places that don't really belong anywhere, which I suspect is kind of the thesis of this book, actually, because it's divided into two parts, but the two parts don't seem connected at all. Like, the first part is just marked 1, and then part 2 has a really like random title, but somehow it works. Like, the number 2 is called 30,000 Islands, and it's basically one long poem. And yeah, I mean, if this were the kind of collection, let's say if it were like a Sarah Kay book, where you know that everything is kind of a little bit narrative and kind of has a very straightforward logic to it, I feel like that kind of randomness would irk me. But since the entire thing is kind of this very concrete abstractness, I feel like it works, and I feel like it's something to be explored and to be thought about some more. And yeah, overall, I really like this book, and I would definitely recommend it. into my office, governor. Okay, so today, just quickly, I'm gonna talk about the book that I'm currently reading. I didn't finish it in time for this wrap-up, but I still want to talk about it. Sorry, OC. I still want to talk about it because I think that it's definitely a book that I'm interested in seeing how my reaction changes to it as I finish it, and and also just to sort of turn you guys onto this book, because I think that regardless of how I end up connecting with it, I think that it's something you guys will want to check out. I'm reading The Empathy Exams by Leslie Jamison, and I kind of mentioned this in my previous video as well. It's such a good book. Basically, Leslie Jamison used to work as one of the actors in medical simulations for med students, where they would be given a script, and she just talks about how all her life she sort of had this thing where she is kind of obsessed with empathizing with people, to the point where that, combined with her profession as like a medical actor, kind of became detrimental in a way, because she would always try and act out or envision all of these illnesses that people around her had, or that the people in these scripts that she would study had, and she sort of juxtaposes that with certain events in her life. So the point where I'm at right now, she's kind of talking about this abortion that she had, and it was strange because she was still very in love with her partner, but the decision to get the abortion was like just something born out of realizing that she was not sort of built to become a mother. And that's just something that resonates with me so freaking deeply, because I feel like, okay, wow, we're just getting so personal, but I just feel like, you know, I feel like it is a real struggle, like for women to kind of say that being a mother is not something that they're interested in doing. And it's just been like that for me as well. I don't see myself being a mother. And so when I was reading what she was, whoa, am I actually a man? When I was reading what she was writing about, just sort of the pain of not feeling guilty, I was like, wow, like girl, holy shit. And there was this part there where she sort of talks about how sometimes pain can be relieving, because it's almost like your body is affirming, it's like your body is affirming something that you feel like you're crazy for feeling. So for example, during the abortion, like she felt like this is something that I should be really, you know, torn up about, and this should be something that I feel super guilty about, but I don't. And so when her body started cramping up, sort of, you know, to deal with the abortion and to recuperate from the abortion, she almost felt glad that it did, because in that way it kind of validated what she was feeling. It's so good, and like the way that Leslie Jamison writes is just, I feel like she's like a cross between Mary Carr and Maggie Nelson, where she has that moodiness from Maggie Nelson's writing, but she also has that very straightforward plot-drivenness of a Mary Carr memoir. And it's just so engaging, and I'd recommend it to everyone. I'm reading it on ebook too, which I think helps because I can read during the day. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about the empathy exams, and I guess I'll start my next wrap-up for September with this book. And that's it for my August reading wrap-up. I hope you guys found that video fun. Don't forget to tell me what you're reading, by the way, and if you've read any of these books, if you liked them, if you hated them, whatever it is, I'm here to hear it. Please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!